Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is your favorite YouTuber Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video I'm going to summarize a very famous story by the famous Russian writer, Russian playwright Anton Chekhov, and the title of the story is here, The Bet. This story is in the syllabus of first semester BCA SEP syllabus under Bangalore University. So let's know the introduction of this story here. The Bet by Anton Chekhov is a thought-provoking short story which explores the themes of wealth, isolation, knowledge, and the search for life's true meaning. The story begins with a debate or capital punishment at a party hosted by a wealthy banker, and that bet leads to a dramatic wager between the banker and a young lawyer. This bet becomes a life-altering journey, raising questions about the value of freedom, the pursuit of wealth, and the role of human connection and wisdom. So, in this story, we find here two important characters. One is a banker who is a very wealthy person, impulsive man who initially values money and power above all. He proposes the bet with a young lawyer, the young lawyer who is very idealistic man who accepts the banker's bet, believing that any life is better than death. So now this is how the story begins here. So the story begins with a flashback. We are going to the flashback before 15 years. The old banker recalls an autumn evening 15 years earlier when he hosted a party where all the guests they were debating about the morality of capital punishment. They were having discussion, is the death penalty or the capital punishment was good or not, was good or wrong, or I mean to say correct or incorrect. They were having discussion about the capital punishment, and most of the guests they were against this capital punishment, the death penalty. They were viewing it, they were seeing this death punishment as a very inhuman act and very outdated act, and many of them also argued that life imprisonment was a preferable punishment compared to the capital punishment. But the banker who hosted the party, he argued that capital punishment was actually more human because it was quick, whereas a life imprisonment slowly drained a person of life. It takes a lot of time person has to suffer. That is according to the banker. So the party was going on, and in that party there was a young lawyer who emphasized that both punishments were equally immoral. He says that both punishments are equally immoral, either it's a capital punishment or it's a life imprisonment. But he also told that if given a choice, he would prefer life imprisonment to retain the chance to live. He says that if he was given a choice, he will not accept the death penalty or the capital punishment. He would accept the life imprisonment. Why? To retain the chance to live. So the banker was very excited by the debate and he shouted at the lawyer. He's saying that it's not true. I'll bet you 2 million you wouldn't stay in a solitary confinement for 5 years. He says that I bet for 2 million rubles, Russian currency, I'll bet for $2 million, 2 million rubles, even you won't stay for 5 years alone in the solitary confinement. That's a debate by the banker. The young lawyer answered, he said that yes, I'll take the bet, but I would not stay, not five. I will stay for 15 years. He says that I take this bet and I will stay not only for 5 years, but I'll stay for 15 years in the confinement. Confinement means to say alone, in the solitary, loneliness, nobody will be there. Something like a uh, imprisonment, life imprisonment, kale pani ki saja, something like this. He says that don't worry, I'll take the bet for 15 years and I'll show that I can stay alone, I can stay in the solitary confinement. And the bet was for 2 million rubles. So what happens further? The bet was accepted by both the persons, but there were some conditions, some TNC, terms and conditions. The terms of the confinement were very strict. The lawyer would have to live in an isolated lodge where on the banker's property, away from all the human contact and without the ability to leave. So, what is the condition? This young lawyer has to stay alone in a kind of a guest house or a lodge, which is already at the banker's property. And this young lawyer should be away from all the human contacts. He can't contact anybody. On the other hand, same time, he should not be able to leave the place till 15 years. But same time, there was some relaxation also. The young lawyer was allowed to read the books and to have some musical instrument and some sort of luxuries like wine, tobacco. But he has to request all these things through a small window. Whatever he want to ask, like all such luxuries, he should ask through a small window. So these were the terms and conditions applied to the young lawyer. And if the lawyer broke the confinement even minutes before the 15-year period was up, he would forfeit the money. So what's the last condition? The condition was here by the banker: if the young lawyer runs away or he breaks this bet, what before 15 years, even 1 minute before 15 years also, he has to pay 1 million rubles to whom? To the banker. So this is the TNC applied, terms and conditions were applied here. So finally what happens? The young lawyer has accepted the condition, all the conditions, and he started to live in a solitary place. But there was a lot of change. The lawyer's experience over the 15 years has changed his mental and emotional state. And the lawyer has accepted this life challenge to stay for 15 years alone, solitary, where he has no contact with anybody. So there were a lot of change in his mindset, his mental and the emotional state. Let us see which are the changes. First year. What is the change in the first year? The young lawyer struggles with the loneliness and depression, and he had depression because he was very much alone. He had no experience. What he started to read the light novels and he started to play the piano. He avoids wine, tobacco, because he used to consider them as the distractions in the very first year. Second year, from reading the light novels, he's moving towards reading the classics. And he has stopped playing the piano, and he started to reflect in search of a deeper meaning because he has more interest in the reading now. He has stopped playing the musical instrument like piano. Fifth year, he sinks into the despair, disappointment, indulging in food and drink. He started to have drink. His behavior has become very erratic. Sometimes he will be keep on writing the whole night to tear up his work in the morning. He was facing a kind of internal crisis when in the very fifth year. And what happened further? Sixth to 10th year, the lawyer gets engaged in a rigorous study of languages, philosophy, and history. He started to read so many books about languages, philosophy, history. He has read about 600 books, developing a sense of intellectual achievement and purpose. At one point of time, he requests confirmation that he is mastering the languages, to which the banker responds by having shots fired in the garden. So the banker gives a response by the shots in the garden. Yes, I accept it. You have become the master of all the languages from the 6th to 10th year. So what happened in the 10th year? In the 10th year, he reads only the Gospel, one of the four or five books of the Bible. And now he's trying to become more spiritual. So this period shows his interest towards the spirituality and the theological reflection. He's becoming very spiritual and theological now, and he started to read the Gospels from the Bible. This is in the 10th year. What's the final year? Final year refers to the 15th year. The lawyer studies everything from science to literature to medicine, appearing like a man who is desperate to absorb all knowledge before his confinement ends. He's reading everything. He has not left any stone untouched. He has started to read literature, medicine, and everything he would like to read within these 15 years. His erratic reading habits suggest a kind of spiritual and the philosophical crisis, as though he is grasping for meaning. So there's a lot of um, thoughtful trauma is going on in the mind. So sometimes we say too much knowledge is a great burden. So this is going to happen in his mind. Now he has a lot of knowledge in his mind. He knows everything. He knows everything: spirituality, theological, science, medicine, literature. So that's in the final year. Now here, 15 years are over. Here something is going on in the banker's life. So over the same 15 year, the banker's financial situation worsens drastically due to poor investments and gambling losses. Once wealthy and carefree, he is now on the brink of ruin. So now, in so this those 15 years of duration, the banker's financial situation has also gone worst, and he has lost a lot of money in the investment, in the gambling. So once upon a time, he was a very wealthy, carefree person, but now he's always has a tension, right? Because he doesn't have much money now. Now he realizes that if he pays the 2 million rubles, it will bankrupt him, because he knows that 15 year is getting over, and the young lawyer is going to win the bet, and this banker has to pay 2 million rubles as per the bet condition, the terms and conditions, and now he doesn't have money. So desperate to save himself from this upcoming financial disaster, what he thinks to murder the lawyer. He thinks that let me kill this lawyer so that I can save this 2 million rubles, and I need not pay, because he has to arrange the 2 million rubles. So he thinks to murder the lawyer. So with this note, what happens here? One final night, on the final night means to say the last night of the 15th year, the banker sneaks into the lawyer's lodge. He slowly, silently, stealthily, he enters the lawyer's room with the intent to kill him, with an intention to kill him. And he finds the lawyer who is asleep at his desk while reading something. He just slept on the desk, and he was looking very thin and very weak. On the table, there was on the table lies a note in which the lawyer has written about his perspective on life after 15 years of isolation. So there, on the table, this banker finds a note, and in on this note, on this kind of note script, his life's perspectives were written here. What has he achieved in those 15 years of isolation? So he starts reading the in his letter. When he reads the letter, who is going to read the letter? The banker reads the letter. In his letter, the young lawyer declares his newfound dislike for the material wealth and worldly pleasures. He says that I don't want any material wealth, I don't want any luxury now. He expresses that through books, he has experienced a vast range of human life: luxuries, adventures, loves, sufferings. Now he finds all of them as the illusions. So, this is what he has written, that he doesn't want anything in his life. Enough, he has got everything in those 15 years. He has got love, he has got suffering, he has read about luxuries, adventures, love, suffering. So, he knows the true meaning of life, and for him all these materialistic things look like a look like an illusion. That was written in the note, and this note was read by the banker. So in the note he also mentioned he rejects the 2 million rubles, stating that he will leave the lodge 5 hours before his term officially ends to break the contract intentionally. So what is written in the note here? In the note, it was written that he will leave the house just before 5 hours of the 15 years over, before 5 hours of the official, the bet breaks over there. He will leave the house, so that he doesn't want that 2 million rubles from the young man. I'm sorry, um, from the banker. So the final act is his way of rejecting the banker's wealth and everything he once thought he desired. So final act is here. Finally, he declares that he doesn't want the 2 million rubles of the banker. He will leave the house before 5 hours of his term of 15 years ends here. So that was a note is read by the banker. So what happens? The banker was moved, was shaken by the letter. He kisses the sleeping lawyer on the head and he leaves. The next morning, the banker's servants report that they saw the banker leave the lodge through a window and disappear. True to his word, the lawyer abandoned the bet and forfeited the money. So, this is how he left the house, and the banker is relieved but guilt ridden. He locks the lawyer's letter and never reveal the true outcome of the bet to anyone. He locks that letter very safely, very secretly, and he doesn't tell anybody about the consequence and about the outcome of the bet. And this is how the story, the bet ends here. Here the lawyer leaves the house before 5 hours of the officially 15 years end, and so that 15 years and here the banker need not pay the $2 million, right? So the banker is relieved, but the banker is also guilt ridden, and he does not reveal this letter to anybody, so that nobody should come to know that what the young lawyer did about the capital punishment, and he won the bet. Actually who won the bet. So, what do we find from this story here? What are themes we find from this story here? First, we find here the futility of wealth and greed. Both the characters, the lawyer and the banker, they start with the strong convictions rooted in wealth and status, but end realizing the emptiness of such pursuits. Second theme, the search for meaning and knowledge. The lawyer's journey from a prideful, materialistic young man to a spiritually enlightened and detached figure suggests a transformation born from intense self reflection and solitude. So, there's a transformation from a materialistic man to a spiritual man. And the last one is here, isolation as a path to truth. The lawyer's confinement leads him to deep realizations about life and about mortality, emphasizing how detachment from society can foster inner clarity. So, this is how the story, The Bet, ends here. Very interesting story by Anton Chekhov. So, friends, this is how I've tried my best to summarize, to simplify the story, The Bet by Anton Chekhov. If you like the story, click on the like button, and please do write something in the chat, something in the description box, in the comment box. How did you like the story? And also go through the channels, inbox channels, playlist, or the description box to get the link of the other lessons videos. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe the channel if you haven't done it. Thanks a lot.